Welcome to the objective review of Creed 2. And in an objective review, I had to break a movie down into 6 categories and assign weights to them depending on the genre, this being a sports movie. So let's get started with the story.
I'm taking the fight.
Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago, who infamously killed Apollo Creed.
In the story, I assigned a 20% weight, and the story follows Creed, Adonis Creed, as he is kind of the newly crowned champ. He's on top of the world, but he doesn't really feel like he's the champ. He doesn't really feel like he's on top of the world. He has to sort of find his reasoning for fighting. And in that, he gets challenged by Drago, which Drago is the son of Drago who killed his father. And there's a lot of built up history behind this. And he feels like he has to take this fight. And really, I feel like this movie is The Dark Knight Rises. It's very similar to it. You have Drago, who's pretty much Bane, who is bigger, stronger, faster than him, who just feels like he's just going to completely just break this guy. And they do say the word break a lot. These characters really have a lot in common. Then there's the Batman character of Michael B. Jordan, who feels like, no, I can take whatever challenge comes my way. He's a little cocky. He's a little too sure of himself, and he kind of underestimates his opponent, but he still feels confident. And then there is the father figure of Rocky Balboa / Alfred, who says, look, I'm responsible for you now. I watched your dad, your parents do this, and I'm looking out for you. And I'm not sure you need to take this fight. Like, you need to be careful. But because, we've seen this story a couple of times, it does become really predictable. Like, since the movie started, I predicted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things, and all those things came exactly true. And that really let me down. Like, there's no twists and turns at all in this movie. But one aspect I did really enjoy about the movie was Drago. He sort of had this parallel arc along with Michael B. Jordan character, Creed. And I really enjoyed that. I really would have liked to see actually more of that. I really liked his backstory and how when his father was defeated, like they had to leave Russia, they were outcasts, and this is his way to come up and regain his honor, all, Zuko style. I think the more of the story is that you just have to do what you love. And if not, then what's the point of it? So for story though, I give it a 6.5 out of 10 because it was just so predictable. Next is emotion, where I assigned a 25% weight.
And I lived through the night. I was his. It was right when I did my ups and downs.
And there's some good emotion in this. Nothing made me get too sad or sappy or anything, but there are just emotions of joy, especially when someone has a triumphant moment. But more particularly in the scenes between Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, and how their relationship grows and how how their life is unfolding. I really enjoy that aspect of it. So I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10. Next is on action, where I assign a 15% weight.
It's dangerous.
And there's really only 2 action scenes in there, and it's just the 2 fights that kind of happen in the movie. Other than that, there's some training montages, which I actually do like this one scene, Michael B. Jordan training. Like, it looks like he's a good boxer. Like, the camera was just on him. The movements look great. I actually really enjoy that. But other than that, there's the 2 actual fighting scenes, and I thought they were just okay. They did carry a lot of emotional weight, which that was good. But because of the lack of action, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next is on comedy, where I just signed a 5% weight, and that's good for this movie. This movie isn't going for that many laughs. There are just some moments of comedy to kind of bring a little bit of levity to the situation, but not that much. And I think everyone kind of lends themselves to that, where it's just situational kind of comedy that you'll have in real life. So I give that a 7 out of 10. Next is on acting.
Round after round, you learn more about yourself. And when I stepped in that ring, it wasn't all about me.
Acting, where I signed a 20% weight, and everyone does a great job in this movie. I mean, Michael B. Jordan showed a really good range. He was happy, he was sad, he was afraid, he was joyful, and most importantly, he was believable in all of these aspects. I mean, he's a great actor. He put on a really great show here. I think Tessa Thompson also did a great job as his significant other. I mean, she really showed that she really cared for Michael B. Jordan, and they have great chemistry together. The guy who played Drago, he didn't have that many lines, but I think he did a great job of acting with his face. Like, especially in the first couple of scenes, he says like nothing. but he just has so much like communicating with his father and with Creed that I think it was a joy to look at. So for acting, I give it an 8 out of 10. Next is on to directing.
If we don't do what we love, then we wouldn't exist.
The directing in this movie is really good. The director does a really good job with the score. That's what I kind of loved most. He doesn't use that rocket score that often, but when he does, it's very triumphant. I think he does a great job of not overusing it. He also did a good job with the cinematography. Cinematography was done really well in this movie, and the pacing was also really good. So for score, I give it a 8 out of 10. So that brings us to our weighted average score of a 7.6 out of 10. The thing weighing this, the aspect of this movie weighing this down most is the story, because it was just way too predictable. But let me know your scores, and I'm out. But one of the things I did like about the movie is Drago. I mean, sure, he is massive and huge. He doesn't say that much, but he does a lot of great just emoting with his eyes, a lot of communication with his eyes. And I really liked how his story paralleled that of Creed's story. Like they kind of had an arc together. Really would like to see more of that. That was really good. But